Hello and welcome to the Saigon Writers Club website. This is the testimonial section in which over 7 lessons we talk about creating the modern short story. And so lesson 1, which hopefully you saw, was just introduction to the basic structure. And this one and then the following 5, a total of 6, will cover all 6 aspects of the modern short story. And so the short story has rules, as you see here in the corner, 5 to 10,000 words, read in one sitting, 2 or 3 main characters, 1 or 2 minor characters, a single event, and so on. And each one of those has a purpose, of course. Part 1, the opening, is the beginning of the story. Part 2, the inciting moment, the conflict. Part 3, rising action, climax. Part 4, Part 5, falling action. Part 6, the resolution. And you see the notes there, how each one of those covers one aspect of the story structure. And so what we're doing today is part 1, the opening, the introduction, how the story starts, how you introduce your characters, your setting, your voice, your tone, a whole bunch of things. This is obviously a very, very important part of creating a short story. And the way I'm doing that is using my own short story, Memo from a Landlord, which was published in the Dry Season 2022 short story anthology, to kind of describe and to show how that works. And so what I'm going to do here is cover part 1, give you some examples, and then I have posted into this video the narrative from the short story of this part, of the opening introduction part. So lesson 1, part 1. The beginning, man. Here's where it starts. The opening, the introduction. Introduction to everything. Characters, setting, voice, the beginnings of a plot. So the reader learns what they're going to read about, who's involved, and maybe some expectations are set about that. And so the way I start my story is this here is basically the first couple paragraphs. I'm going to read it and then explain it a little bit. I tell ya, I've been doing this for a while and I'm still amazed by the power of little kids. It doesn't seem to matter how old they are. They can be infants, just a couple weeks old, and they make a face or eye contact, grab a finger in their fat little fist, burp, sneeze, or fart, and everyone in the room goes batshit crazy. It all makes for a really good story that I've been wanting to tell for a long time, and now I get to tell it. Okay, so a couple things are done here in that first paragraph. This is actually like, I think, the first couple paragraphs. So first off, point of view, first person, I tell ya, but also voice. Now, voice is the style. Voice is the way it sounds. Voice is the method, the personality of the story and of the narrator. I tell ya, I've been doing this for a while. And so that's kind of a casual. I tell you would be very different than I tell ya. And so that's an example of voice. And you want to get that started right off the bat. You want to get point of view known and shown to the reader right off the bat. And also a little bit about the theme. Here, okay, there's a good story coming on. Let's see what it's all about. Continue. Are you going to read it first? In early 2017, I was assigned to be the editor of a daily newspaper in Southwest Montana. My guy was one of the reporters, and he covered politics on the Montana and National Affairs desk. He had an 8-year-old son. It was just the two of them. For whatever reason, I have a soft spot in my heart for single dads. Okay, now we get to know the setting. 2017, Southwest Montana, at a newspaper, and a little bit about the characters. One guy's a reporter, national affairs politics guy. He has an 8-year-old son. And also a little bit about the point of view and the role of the narrator. Okay, he's the editor. He was assigned to be that editor. It's a daily newspaper. And he has a soft spot in his heart for a single dad. So right off the bat here, we learn, okay, the reporter and the son, they're single. It's just the two of them. And so all this is done in the first maybe 5 or 6 paragraphs. Continue. This is character details. I watch him hang up the phone and start walking across the newsroom to my office. He's stressed out. I can tell. I can see it. He's slumped over with a few days' growth of beard on his face. He looks like he's been crying because his eyes are red, either from a lack of sleep or maybe he actually has been crying. As we were talking, I see his face suddenly light up when he looked out into the newsroom. The reason I can't fire him had just walked through the door. It's Colin, his 8-year-old boy who's in the 3rd grade. Now, I just picked out a little parts of this from the beginning, but here, character details. We meet the main guy. His name is Max. I don't have it here, but in the story, of course, I do. And also, so here we see the relationship between the editor and Max, Max and his son, and the editor and the son. And so we get a little bit of a sense of the dynamic of the relationships involved. But what's important here is you got to tell the reader, here's what my character is like. Give him some characteristics. Make him do something. He slumped over with a few days' growth of his beard. He looks like he's been crying. These give you some ideas of what that person is like. Last part. Colin is one of my kids too, just like his dad. So we built up our own relationship. Lately, we've been talking a lot about his dad. He doesn't know why, and I don't try to explain the why part, but he senses his dad's depression and overall view of the world. This scares him, and he doesn't know what to do to help. Okay, again, the voice, the character, the relationship between the editor and Colin, the Colin and his dad, there's fear there. Now we have a seeds of a plot. Okay, so those 4 points there, the points in red, each paragraph, each section has a purpose, whether it's point of view, introducing voice, introducing character, providing a setting, giving a sense of what's happening, all that you want to do in that opening introduction section. So that's part 1 of this tutorial. What I have here is the actual text. I've cut and pasted it in here from Manual from the Landlord. So you can see there, I tell you, I've been doing this for a while and I'm still amazed. So that was the opening line. So what you have here is the opening, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 pages of the short story. And I encourage you to read it. Here's the second half of it. It's around 1,400 words. And so this gives you an example of, okay, all of this is intended to be the opening, the introduction, prior to the point of conflict. So please give it a read. When you go back, stop this video, you'll no longer hear me speak, but go back and read. I encourage you to read these 2 pages, these 1,400 words, before you go on to part 2. So thanks for taking part in this, and I hope you continue on to part 2, the point of conflict. Thanks for listening and have a great day.